come up here and be crude and rude. But I'm not going to do that because I have a newly born niece and I'm going to start being a role model. Or I can come up here and, you know, do one of my favorite impressions and be like, you know, Harry was really impressed with the food tonight. But what happened to the hot dogs? Who's in charge of ordering those? Come on, man, I'm your best friend here. You gotta leave out Harry's favorite food. Alright, well, I'll just go through and sort of do a brief description of Matt and I's history. Well, he moved here in 6th grade, middle of 6th grade. So we were best friends ever since then. And just let me break it down. When you're in 7th grade, they have teams at Willow County Middle School. They have the green team and the gold team. Separate teachers on each team. We were on the gold team together.
Gold team forever.
Yeah, by the end of the year, it was a known fact to everybody in the whole school that Matt Valade and Patrick Clifford were no longer to be able to be on teams together. 8th grade, we were separated. Not allowed. So, you know, we got into trouble together a little bit. You know, maybe if we were away from each other, we'd be good kids and not act up in class. But when we were together, you know, bad things kind of happen. Not that bad of things. But anyway, I like to kind of compare it to this show on Nickelodeon I used to watch, Doug.
Yeah.
So, we'll just say that Doug moves to this new town. He's kind of shy. He's tall. He's, you know, a little goofy. Yeah, this is Matt we're talking about here. And here enter walks Skeeter. Cool guy, you know. He's charismatic. He's tall. He's handsome. He's got a good way with the ladies. And by the way, this is me. But he just, you know, he kind of beat me to the punch. I was going to say, it's not a totally literal comparison because it's a cartoon. Skeeter was blue. I'm not blue. I may bleed blue because my love for the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Yeah. Sorry, Melissa. But anyway, Doug's whole outlook in this show was to find love. And of course, everybody that knows the show was Patty Mayonnaise. Well, you know what? He found his Patty Mayonnaise. Melissa is everything he needs. She puts him in the right direction. You know, he strives to be an excellent person. I already know he's an excellent person. He's my best friend. So, let's put a cheers up. Everybody raise their glasses. To my best friend and his new wife. Have a great life together. You're the best people I know. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life just hanging out with you. Because you got me now. It's the three of us. No, just kidding. I'll give you a little time for yourself. Alright, well, I do want to introduce Matt's brother, his best man. And I've known this kid since he was real little. And back then he was kind of a small guy. We used to be able to pick on him. We could out wrestle him. Not anymore, look at this kid. But anyway, without further ado, the best man, Thomas Valade.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. What is orange and sounds like a parrot? It's a carrot. Really? Yeah, I'm the best man. Matt gave me the honor of being the best man on his first wedding. Sorry, Dad. How about a round of applause for beautiful Melissa? How beautiful. I'm sure all the men in the room are in agreement. Today's a sad day. We're going to lose another pretty young lass. And all the ladies will agree that today will come to pass without even making as much as a ripple. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet, but a minute ago I was in the bathroom writing a speech, and Matt came in and he said, "Oh bro, good, I'm glad I saw you. Hey, when you give your speech, don't mention any of my ex-girlfriends." So sadly this only takes us about 3 seconds, so buckle up, this might take a while. And as a man goes through life, he meets all sorts of people. He meets friends, enemies, acquaintances, partners, you name it. But there comes a time when a man meets his true love, and that happened for my brother. 27 years ago when he met me. Now, growing up, I always looked up to my brother. He was my role model. I wanted to be just like him. Gotta stick with the cards here. I had a few cocktails. He was the coolest guy in town, you know, and in school I was never Tom. I was always Matt's little brother to the upperclassmen and to the teachers, and we'll come to think of it, no wonder I always got those dirty looks. But seriously, they'd come up and they'd say, "Oh wow, you're Valade's little brother. You guys look so... You're so much better looking than him." That's really though, my brother, he's intelligent, he's thoughtful, he's good looking, he's good. I can't read your handwriting, Matt, I'm sorry. Sorry, man. In all seriousness, my brother's always been my hero. Now, he and I don't really deal with all the touchy-feely stuff, so I've never really mentioned this to him. But Matt went to college here in Kentucky, or in Lexington, and he'd been up here 3 years before it was my turn to join the ranks of a college student. I came up, I got a little apartment, and when I'd run out of the money that my parents would give me for books and groceries, because I spent it on Busch Light and Easy Mac, I'd go over to my brother's house and I'd see what he had to eat. Well, I went over there one particular afternoon, and he seemed like he was in a really good mood. He probably had a few cocktails, but that's besides the point. He looked at me, he said, "Hey Tom, you know, over the years I've probably given you a pretty hard time. I'm sorry about that. But I was doing some thinking the other day, and you're kind of cool." And that was the end of the conversation. It might not seem like much, but to me, it meant the world to me. When I officially met Melissa a couple years ago, I knew it was serious right off the bat. She, for several reasons. First off, Matt brought her to the family Christmas, which is a huge deal because us Valade children know anybody you add to the equation means less presents for us. And if he's willing to deal with the wrath of my little sister Allie, then she means a lot to me. Secondly, it's the effect she has on him. She, like my dad said last night, she can calm him down. Not many of you have ever seen Matt, you know, lose his temper, but once in a blue moon, he can do that, and he's similar to the Juggernaut in X-Men when he does this. Now, if you don't know who the Juggernaut is, he's this huge guy that gets all this momentum, and when this happens, you just can't slow him down. There's no stopping him. Well, I finally met the person who could do that. And this one particular day, Matt was getting, you know, he was going on a rant. It was something serious, probably like it was raining outside or something. Well, he was going he was going pretty good, and he was starting to resemble, you know, the Incredible Hulk. He was just getting bigger and bigger, puffing up. And in walks Melissa, and she walks up behind him. She puts her hand on his shoulder, and she says, "Hey man, it's okay." And then instantly I watched the Hulk shrink back down into Bruce Banner. I'd never seen it before. And from then on, I knew that she was a keeper, and she was already a member of my family. I heard a quote once that fits this beautiful couple. To the world, you may be just one person, but to one person, you're the world. And when I heard that quote, it made me think of these two. I love you guys.
Mistake on my part, but I need to preface this by saying that when I talked to Melissa about the speech and all the trouble it was giving me, like how do I put our love into words and how do I keep it short and sweet, she just said 3 words: don't get weird. So, in my efforts not to get weird, I'll stick to the script. Alright, so it was only recently that in composing this toast I make to my friend tonight that I tried to isolate the very beginning of our friendship, and I realized I could not do it. I could say something general like, well, it all started with underwear, because some of you may know that we met where we worked together at Victoria's Secret, Fayette Mall. Whoop whoop! Vicky C! So, the life of me, I could not pinpoint the very day or event during which we started hanging out outside from our tortuous jobs as panty peddlers. But what does become clear to me are specific memories, brilliant snapshots that capture the beauty of being Melissa's friend. For example, one New Year's in particular, we couldn't get a cab until 11:45, and the whole night was spent just getting ready in my apartment, eating Applebee's takeout, and drinking 2 for $6 Five Oaks wine from Rite Aid. Now, it may not sound like much to you, but it lives in infamy in each of our memories as the best New Year's celebration of all time. It may not, excuse me. See, she told me to stick to the script, and that's what happened. Then there are the basic facts, like how much better my life is because Melissa is in it. I would not be where I am today were it not for her. When I've wavered, she has motivated and inspired me to move forward. And when I've triumphed, she has celebrated each moment of my joy as if it were her own, which is exactly how I feel tonight.
You can do it, baby. Come on.
I got weird. I know that she has found true and perfect love in Matt, who I am certain knows exactly what I mean when I say how wonderful life is when Melissa is a part of it. And again, I cannot remember the exact moment when she told me their relationship began. But I do remember knowing then that we would end up here. To quote Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, it is difficult to know at what moment love begins, but it is less difficult to know that it has begun. Love began for them then and continues as their marriage begins tonight. Let us raise our glasses to Matt and Melissa and all the beginnings that lie ahead. Cheers.
Celebration tonight. celebrate.